Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chops Podcast. My name is Steve Peterson.
I'm Jack Hinkle.
We are so happy to have you with us on this wonderful snowy day in Elkhart, Indiana. We're going to be talking about the teaching trifecta, knowing your students, knowing your content, and knowing your teaching. Wait, did I mess that up?
No, that's good.
Okay.
That's good.
Jack, what do you got? What's on your mind?
Which is the most important for you today? Which felt like the leading the charge?
Breakfast or lunch? Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Oh, got some good momentum today on knowing your content.
Ooh, specifically math?
Math.
Are you in the depths of algebra? Geometry?
I'm in a lot more algebra.
Okay.
I did a little bit of geometry last week and then some circle, dark arts, but linear equations, right? System of inequalities, and then working with exponents and radicals, right?
Those were fun times back in the day.
Okay.
You're getting into it.
Yeah, okay. I just want to share something.
You finally found X after all this time.
Yeah, but it keeps changing.
I know. Why did they do that to you?
Every time. I'm like, it's X today is 9, and then tomorrow is 2.2. Okay. Freshmen at Concord, if they're taking Admentum online school with us through Aspire, they study Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
Right? Everybody knows the basic premise of that. Love story gone wrong. Two families that don't get along. Mm-hmm. Right? I have had fun recently teaching math. Yes, that's Steve Peterson. What I don't even know my name. Steve Peterson saying I'm having fun teaching math because, like, if you have 3x equals 12, right? X equals 4, right? But there's that step that you do, like, when you learn this process, you have to break up 3 and x, right? So I say they're Romeo and Juliet. If you have a number and a letter together, you cannot have them. So I draw a heart, then I put the 4x inside the heart. And I said, what do I need to do that relationship? They said, divide it. Okay, we need to divide them. How do we get them back to their own house? Okay, divide by 4, divide by 4.
Romeo and Juliet to teach math.
Yes.
You baller. That's knowing you're teaching right there. And knowing your content.
Instead of saying, but the key word is, what do we want to do with this relationship? Or to these
Break
families?
it up.
Yeah, break it up, divide it.
Nice.
So that's my little win for math recently. Been having some success with that.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. I like to hear that.
So it does make me excited because for years I've thought about different ways to teach music and different ways to dress it up or dress it down, whatever it is, to make it consumable for the students. If not fun and engaging, if it not funny, or if not memorable, right? So I'm not a guy that was like really cooking with math and trying to think about how to be friends with math and like actually teach it, not just like repeat it, but like teach it like I would something I'm more comfortable with. I'm like, I didn't know I could do that. I thought math had to be boring. And I know math teachers have 101 analogies and stories and tricks and characters, right?
I can attest to that. I've had math teachers that are like crazy into math and teaching it, and it's very entertaining. And I've had math teachers that act like they don't like math, which is interesting if they chose to teach it.
Yeah.
So all in between. I'm glad you're digging it. That's fun.
It is. So, for me, the trifecta, the know your content, has been much more relevant for me lately. Talking, for example, math, or talking about biology and DNA and RNA and chemical equations and chemistry and not only like knowing the content, but so doing some sleuthing on my own to figure out a little bit more about the content, but then also thinking about what you can use like to teach it. So like really using the trifecta.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of exciting because it's new content. I'm a newbie.
And probably learning the new content and like being effective in the new content helps you be a better teacher. And you have professed that you work pretty hard at knowing the students. So probably they all keep feeding into each other as you go further into your math lifestyle.
Right.
Good for you.
So I'm interested in that.
Good for you.
That's my truth.
Preach.
Okay, so today, Jack, the episode is called Whiplash. Whiplash. The movie came out a number of years ago. What's the guy's name?
J.K. Simmons.
That guy. Buff dude, wearing a black shirt all the time, bald head. Really mean jazz band director. Yelled at the kids, threw things at the kids, had no tolerance, had the best band in the land, but it was his way or get out of the room way. A lot of classic scenes from that.
And we'd love to show it to the students, but very inappropriate.
There's too many bombs in it.
Too many bad words, too many traumatic, bloody scenes.
And so in this case, the teacher really never says anything positive to the students. It's just, no, stop, do it again, bad, you stink, just cookie cutter, right?
All the time.
Okay.
But his bands sound awesome.
But his bands
even when they're
are
not great.
Awesome. And he gets them there, and they're scared to death of him. Okay?
Nothing like swinging when you're scared.
It's not possible. It is not possible. No. They ain't swinging. Well, then the other side is giving your students feedback that is positive, but then also giving your students feedback that is meaningful. And how do you go into a rehearsal or get out of a rehearsal or a math lesson or get out of a math lesson where things really didn't go well at all? And let's say things have not been going well for a few days. Okay, so you got to point at this guy to figure out, you have to kind of reflect on what's going on. But my point is, you just feel like it would be insincere to give a compliment because it's been going so bad. Those of you right now, you're in the spring contest preparation season, right? and you may be trying tunes. Jack is like on the blood pressure. That's what Jack is doing right now. And you're coming in to maybe the time of year we're starting to put things together. You're starting to stitch the patches together, and you hope to come up with a set of overalls, but after you're done, it just looks like a doormat.
Scarf, yeah.
You're like,
what am I supposed to do with this?
What am I gonna? Why are there buttons on my doormat? So you're in a time where you're so hopeful and you're looking towards the end product of being ready to go to contest, whatever that standard is for you, whatever that assessment is for you, whatever that benchmark is. But you know that you've gone through the growing pains, in this case learning notes and rhythms, and you're putting the band together and you start to make some decisions about the music and about the total ensemble, right? Yeah. And getting the group together and finding the groove of the group, because maybe you've been in sectionals, maybe you've been split, or maybe you worked on other tunes earlier, whatever. But you may have a couple of rehearsals where you have XYZ as the lesson plan, and you can't even get to X because the letter forest in front of it is just all the trees are down, and you cannot get to XYZ.
Yeah, you guys have letters? Yeah.
It cannot get there. But yet you're empathetic and you're sympathetic. And you want to make the environment right for your students and give them something to hang on to, but you don't want to be patronizing and just say, hey, good job, good effort today. It really sounds bad, but really liked your effort. That doesn't go, that can go far, but you also have to present it in a way that is like meaningful and heartfelt. And brings up the question, do you need to compliment your kids every day? Yes! But you do
Okay.
need to compliment your kids every day. Something. What's wrong with us if we can't come up with something? But I think that's a real toughie of a question. When things are not going well, how do you keep the face of let's keep on working on this, let's stay together? And Jack, can you think of times or
Yes.
today?
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
Perfect.
When things aren't going well and I need to come up with something.
Yeah.
Yes, I can come up with something very much.
What do you do?
Cry, but not until after class.
Yeah.
No. Okay, Steve.
I do a podcast to work on my
I'm
feelings.
sorry. It helps me talk through things. I'm still working on it. Okay. I would like to say a couple things before I answer your question. One, those of you preparing for contest,
Business.
what's the B stand for? Bow body.
Okay.
For those of you preparing for contest, Godspeed, soldiers. Godspeed. I know our junior high contest is this week, and most people around our region have probably lost approximately, 2 school weeks due to weather, right?
Yep.
With the delays and cancellations, at least 2 full school
As
weeks.
we're
if
looking
not
at
more.
a hefty snowfall out the window.
Yeah, when it was 70 degrees yesterday, going to be 70 degrees later this week, you look outside, you're like, what? Stop it.
My muscles are going, expand, contract, expand, contract, snip, snap.
This is when you go,
Yeah.
that's where we're at right now. Second thing is former guest of the podcast, Ken Snook. He would say a great performance, or I'm going to use the word rehearsal. A great rehearsal is the reflection of the student's hard work. A poor performance or rehearsal is a reflection of the director's poor planning.
Oh, gosh, that is so tough
Unfortunately true.
to hear.
It is so unfortunately true. So students listening, that doesn't mean you're like scot-free from like doing anything, but this is like a practice of essentially reflection for the director. And for those of you that are going through it right now and your bands are not where you think you should be, hopefully there's some reflection going on and you're like, oh, yeah, I probably could have done this sooner. Slice of humble pie for me. This happened to me earlier on in the year. This is my first year teaching a new set of classes, and the performance calendar is slightly different for some, and kind of looking at that, and I was thinking, I didn't time that well. And it's my first year, so it makes sense I kind of missed that, but I'm already looking ahead to next year, and I made notes for myself, like, hand this out now, hand this out at this point next year, and just trying to help myself be on the front end of planning. Going back to your question, time that things aren't going well, and like, what do you do? A band I teach right now is working on it's not really a march, but it has a march energy to it and a lot of oompa.
Okay.
Bop, 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 bop. And trying to work that out even without a percussion section, but like sometimes with metronome, not with metronome, and trying to get really consistent in the tempo for the ooms, for the pas, and for the melody has been a hot mess. Probably by design, right? Like that's not supposed to be great right away. And I have tried to come back with like a billion different techniques. And I'm just doing different stuff every day. And I wouldn't say I landed on something that really clicked until probably 3 or 4 rehearsals in. And so the first 2 rehearsals, I felt like that. I'm like, wow, guys, you're doing exactly what I'm asking of you.
Yeah, good job for staying with me.
Good job for staying with me, because I'm about to not stay with myself. I'm about
Right.
to just, throw it in the towel. But my reaction when things aren't going well is typically to own it to the students. And their response is they get uncomfortable when they can't play something well. Shocking.
Right.
They feel like they need to talk more. They feel uncomfortable. They feel not good in that space. And usually if something's not going well when they're doing what I ask, that's like uh-oh mode. Because if they're doing what I want and it's not going well, that's on me. And I'll usually come back and own it and be like, I usually say that. I'm saying, you're doing it exactly as I ask, and it's still not there. So clearly the issue is what I'm asking of you. And I'm going to
Truly
change
my
it.
scaffolding inhales.
So I'm going to change it and come back to it later, and we'll try something different, something along those lines. But I do come back and I do circle back and try something else. And I did come up with a technique that did kind of start to work.
Okay.
We had like ooms and pahs and straight eighth notes. And I sent the trumpets away to the back of the room and got them behind the low brass and the horns, and I had them go bop 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 bop,
Okay.
and then had the tubas go bop 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 bop. Everybody else go bop 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 bop, and the trumpets are just bop 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 the whole time. So then we do like play a bar, rest a bar, but the trumpets always play. Trumpets are like bop 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 boop bop boop bop boop bop boop bop 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 boop bop, and then we added 4 bars.
Okay.
And so we're just trying to add on length without time. We're trying to add on length, but keep the trumpets there like consistently as the glue.
Would the trumpets normally be the melody? Is that what they were?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I assigned them. They were like the metronome for that. Like we just did it on F concert, and then like sent them back to the front of the room, and then like took them out slowly.
Okay.
And so like the scaffolded approach to keeping the march groove going. And the trick with that tune is that it's so unpredictable, which makes it not a march. That like there's no sense of like form, and there's like 7-bar phrases, so it's really hard to jump back and forth with that. But the tempo of the band's just got to be so clean. So coming up with like exercises and different techniques that you can involve the class and like actually teach, what a concept, as opposed to just rehearsing the notes and rhythms on the page. That's kind of been my mission.
So did you see, like with the times that you use that, what sounds like an awesome example of scaffolding, but as you use that, were they able to start to transfer it to the actual music?
Yeah. And so we did put it back with the actual tune, and we took the trumpets out and just had like those people go, and used the metronome for a little bit, used the subdivision on the metronome, and then took away the subdivision, and then quieted the metronome, and then completely took it away, and it got better. But I was like messing around with like sizzling for a while, having people just sizzle eighth notes, and then the oompahs play. That wasn't working. I was having like A's and B's. That wasn't always working. I was really frustrated because I felt like I had good techniques, and they just were not flying. It just was not working, which is like such a lonely feeling as a teacher when you're like, let me pull out the right tool for this job. You use it, and it's like just not it. You're like,
Do you think it was the tools were great, but it was the wrong tool for that job,
apparently,
right? I guess. But what do you think was holding them back? Like, was it too fast?
I don't know. I think there wasn't a consistent tempo accountability.
Okay.
And it's like if we use the metronome, it's a crutch for them. But when we used the live humans as the metronome, there was, I guess, a little more natural give and take. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
And then the natural give and take kind of went away, and they were able to kind of keep it more themselves. And I think we found, too, it's like a lot of the times it was the downbeat people that were mucking it up, either rushing or dragging, and everyone else is reactionary. So I don't really know. I don't really know.
So you got to a point now you feel like you're learning.
Yes, we are not
as
losing.
An ensemble.
Yeah. So that was like an example,
mm-hmm.
an example of that, of not quite feeling it. But, you know, you're asking about the level of compliment, the level of feedback, positive versus negative. And, you know, even though Whiplash is like absolutely not a stellar teaching idea, the concept of like criticism is still valid. Like you have to be able to like criticize and give kids ideas on how to improve. The way it's presented, really not into throwing chairs here at Concord High School. Never have been, never planned to be. No. But you have to be able to say those things, and you don't always need to sugarcoat. You probably shouldn't. But finding the mix and like balancing it that's kind of what you're getting at here, right?
Yeah, I guess the highest form of praise for that would be like the students feel excited when there's success.
Yeah.
They like feel that with you,
Yeah.
or maybe you feel that with them, that something is going well, but also they feel that sense of, I don't know if disappointment's the word, but I think in the correct culture of your ensemble, that you want the students to have a little bit of frustration or the idea that we're working on this to get it better.
You know, I wish we taught, I don't know why I'm thinking of this right now. It seems very late. I wish we taught kids how to be frustrated better.
Yeah.
Like, you can think of the amount of rehearsals you've been a part of where, like, something blows up and you know what's going to happen. You know exactly the reaction, like, especially in marching band. You do chart 1 to 2 for the first time. It is horrific. And what do the kids do?
Right. Laugh.
Talk. Giggle.
Try
Take
it again.
forever to go back.
Right.
Like, why? I don't know why I'm figuring this out right now. Why aren't we going to be like, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to do chart 1 to 2. It's going to be horrific, okay? You're going to get giggly. You're going to feel like a little embarrassed because it was so bad. Shocking, it's July 1st.
Right.
Like, why? I feel motivated to do that. Teach kids how to be frustrated. I don't know how to do that for concert band, but I'll come up with it soon. We'll get back to you on that.
When I think about working with students and working on new content and wanting progress, when I feel like things aren't going well, like if I have like repeated, if I'm math, okay, like repeated wrong answers, even though there's been a lot of effort put into modeling. I write it, you write it, look at my steps, look at your steps, I'll reflect back on there, tell me what this means, say it in English according to the mathematical vocab that's there, do all these kind of different things, but then maybe you come back to a concept that you did 10 minutes earlier and they're getting it confused with something. Right? Like, it's on the other part of the page, right? But they know it, but they're just using it at the wrong time, right? And so you want to, what inevitably happens is, after pushing that is I end up kind of easing back and going back a step and just let them rifle away and be really successful, like real quick with like 5 or 6 things that are maybe easier or just back a step, but to kind of get that mindset of like, I've been successful. I've done this. And I'm not at a stopping point. I had momentum. I got a little turned around. But say hello to those things again. Do it again and again and again and again and again, whether you're working on whiteboards or you're working on an alto saxophone. But have that success and have that help you, move on to the next obstacle.
Yes.
And that, I know that seems like really elementary, but I think we're so conditioned, like we got to get the new thing. And then like we get tense and then the students get tense and it doesn't get better. And then you're looking at the clock and you're like, I have 7 minutes left. And oh my gosh, we haven't done anything and we haven't gotten anything done. And that's frustrating. And maybe it's just better at that point to cut bait. And with those 7 minutes left, do something that you have worked through before, revisit it, and just kind of button up the class on a good level, on a good moment. And yeah, maybe you didn't get your goal done, but I also think you got to really be aware of how students come in and out of your class and how they feel about the energy of that. And we've all been in rehearsals as teachers and students and observers that have just ground to a halt that sometimes like becomes the fault of the kids. Maybe it is the fault of the kids, but like usually it's the fault of the teacher that it comes to a screaming halt. Because you're not able to tact and you're not able to give them moments for success while you're recalculating the next plan.
This episode of Chops is sponsored by Sight Reading Factory. Sight Reading Factory is a digital tool that generates virtually infinite music on the spot for any ensemble. Every exercise is customizable, making it great to focus on specific rhythms or intervals. And now you can even align the exercises to match your state and organizational standards. Sight Reading Factory is built for the classroom with 2 great features: auto assessment and live practice. Auto assessments grade student recordings automatically so you don't have to, and they sync directly to your gradebook. By selecting one of 3 levels of leniency for your group, you can be sure SRF will grade recordings appropriately. Live practice allows you to generate music for your ensemble on the spot. Correctly transposed parts will be sent to students' devices while you read the score. No more wasting time distributing, collecting, and hunting down original parts from your library on Sight Reading Day. Visit sightreadingfactory.com today to begin your subscription for as low as $3 per student. I think that's so real. And it's not easy. It's like not easy as a teacher to like see those moments happen before they do. Like you kind of have to look into your crystal ball and like notice, okay, this might go south really quick. And like you're kind of talking about having like a success exercise, like in case of emergency. Essentially, you're like, we got to pull this out.
Break glass in case of emergency.
Because kids need to be successful every day. Every day in every class, they need to experience success. And it's not like, it's not fake success. It's not fake news success. It's like real. Like
it's
they
real
need
success.
Something to be successful at. And, you know, the beauty of experiencing success is that it feeds itself and fuels itself. Almost with everything. I'm going to even say math, because I'm sure you've had kids, they get a question right and they're like, oh, bro, give me another.
Yep.
They do that. And this is interesting because this one actually is about Whiplash. But something that we've been doing a lot is chanting, like all the time. And I know you've worked on that tune with a band. Mm-hmm. And that, for those of us that are non-musical, Whiplash is a cool tune, but its shtick is that it's in 7/4. 7 beats per measure, 4 quarter note. I can do this. I'm a music teacher. Quarter note gets the beat. And if you are a music person, or even if you're not, you normally feel like 4s all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is in 7. And it's really not just 7, but it's really like 4, 4 plus 6, 8. Okay. Right? And the 6, 8, the triplet beats like move around. It's not always consistent. So there's some, you know, it's toward the end. We're like working on this stuff. And it's so hard to play if you don't know how to feel it, right? Like how to count it. And so we spent a lot of time early on just chanting. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And they're chanting it from a paper. They're like writing in counts that we wrote in together. And there was a day where we chanted for like half an hour.
Awesome.
And you may look at that and be like, you guys didn't play a note for half an hour? I'm like, absolutely not. Like, we got to do this first. And when we went back to it, it was clearly like better than what it would have been if we just like went in sight reading it. But when it got bad, like when it was unplayable, we went back to chanting. And like we always had that there. And going to this idea of praise versus not, I almost think let your teaching speak for your praise or lack of to the kids. If it's not good, do something else. The kids will figure out what's going on. And if you give them something successful, they feel good about that. And then they figure out you move on to something new. You're using your content as the barometer of the effectiveness of what they're doing. Mm. You've had lessons, I'm sure, where you're not really praising or criticizing. You're just like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And they can start to chew on it and feel where you're at, where you're going. That's not to say you shouldn't ever compliment kids, because I'm in agreement with Steve. You should do that every day. But I'm at the point now that, like, if I say, wow, that was really bad, it's always for comic relief. And it's never like, that was so bad, you should feel ashamed.
Right.
Because if it's that bad, I'll say, pull up your rhythm worksheet, look at number 1, clap number 1. Great. Number 2, and you just pull out the ladder and get the scaffolding going, right?
Yeah.
Because that's all you need to do, and that's going to be a lot more effective than like berating a kid into a new dimension.
Yeah. I I'd like to say all the time, but like the band would play and just like totally yard sale on something. It'd be like, okay, we're gonna stop. I thought yesterday this happened, but that for sure was the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. That was spectacularly bad. And just get a little, like you said, comic relief to try again at it.
Okay, I will say, I said that to one of my groups that I don't know that
parent,
well.
You got a parent.
No,
back
they did seem a little offended. Oh, dude, I felt really bad.
Know your students. Oh boy,
Mr. Hinkle, can we see you in the main office, please? Please bring your keys and your laptop. It's nice knowing you, everybody. No, but you do that for comic relief, and usually it hits pretty well.
Yeah. It is. It's important to think about. You were just going back to. Sorry, I just got stuck. But like going back to the idea, like the way you're teaching can also indicate the success or the concerns that they're having, right? By how you decide what you're spending time on and how long you're spending some time on.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay when things aren't going well. You say, okay, we made progress on this today. We got 2 steps out of 5 done. We're going to come back to it tomorrow. Okay. Let's finish class with XYZ.
But I know you and how you teach pretty well. Will you ever crash out at a group for their performance level?
No.
But you will crash out for their
effort level
there we
or
go.
Engagement level.
How they rehearse. I mean, that I am so call me crazy, but I am so much more interested in how my groups rehearse than how they play. Because I can control that one.
You can control how they rehearse?
No, not really.
What?
I feel like I can. I feel like I am much
a
more
Sith
influential.
Lord?
Dude, some days I feel like it. Some days. No, I think I am more okay, what am I trying to say here? I don't care how they play.
You're more into know your teaching and you don't give a rip about knowing your content. Is that what you're saying?
Every day, give me a T-shirt. Give me a new chopsticker. Give me the trifecta, but I'll cross out content.
Dufecta.
Difecta. Before you start ripping into me, were you of the same mindset? Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so before sarcastic pants got going here.
Yeah.
That's the human, that's like what we're trying to do. That's why we're in band. That's why I teach band. I don't care how they play in 20 years because chances are they're not going to play. Their horn's going to be in some like basement of some church they donated it to. It's fine. But how they rehearse is going to affect how they sit in on their staff meetings. Are they going to like look at their phone while a person's talking and like veg out? Or are they going to be sitting up making eye contact with a little eyebrow movement?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I care about. And that's what I try and teach really well. And I will say, I have been quite impressed with the young band's rehearsal technique lately. Are we playing the notes and rhythms locked in? Actually, we're not far off, which is good, but it's not perfect yet.
But the way they're going
about it is good, and like I'm happy about that, and I'm like intentional about honoring that and letting them know that. Like that's when I compliment them the most. I compliment them more on how they act than how they sound.
Right.
Call me crazy.
No. That's a good take.
Because you want consistency in your rehearsals, and you would do that with wind ensemble. You'd be like, guys, I just want to let you know that was like a really productive use of 50 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
But you would not as be quick to say, that was like a really, really good run of this tune. Right. You'll say that, but you're more apt to talk about how they act.
Yeah, that's very important to me, like how that all feels. Another thing about like giving success, helping create successful moments. I know Jay Gephardt, the director of bands from Purdue, was here a few weeks ago, and we've seen him teach for many years as a clinician and a guest conductor, and he did wonderful things. I know I've seen this work before where the balance is not right in some section, and he would be kind of um, not very specific and to say, okay, there's a section here that is there's an instrument section that's playing too loud here. I want you to try it again. Okay, it's better, but it's still not where you want it to be. The balance has to be, there's some sections that are playing too loud, and you got to catch that. Okay, try it again. And would do those kind of exercises with them where he didn't tell them the answer. But the punchline was, so he was like, you did know. You did know what was, if you were too loud or too soft. And they do that in Whiplash in a very harsh way. Like, you do know if you're rushing or dragging, which is very bad. But the idea that, like, the students created that success, and the students did the work to get on top of that little molehill.
Yeah.
They're the ones that figured it out. He gave them an opportunity to express that. And I like that, like how that creates the vibe, because it's kind of like we're in the lab together.
Yeah, you're like the facilitator.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's...
Whereas Dana Hall would say, he said, collaboration.
Yeah. Have there... Okay, we've been kind of more on the, like, happy side. Have there been groups that you've gone J.K. Simmons on that, like, they're doing pretty well, but you're like, come on.
Yeah.
How's that look?
I think that's, like, done out of love. I think you can go maybe J.K. Simmons mode a little bit when the trifecta's cooking. I think you can lean into that. Like, if you have a tight-knit group of kids and they work well and you work well and they learn well and you teach well, and this is good relationship, and they get into some kind of groove or they're sniffing something out that they're becoming successful, like turning up the heat and turning up the pace, turning up the volume, turning up the excitement, maybe turning up the pressure, but still keeping it safe. Yeah, I don't go J.K. Simmons, but I think, pushing into that intensity is good. It doesn't always have to be like, yeah, that's great, kids. Good job. Keep going. I think you can turn it up.
What's J.K. Simmons' trifecta look like? He obviously knows his content. Does he know his kids?
I think a teacher like that assumes he knows the kids by giving them what they want, which is a quality education which will get them jobs later in life.
Did he know how to teach? I would say he knew a way to teach.
He knew a way to teach. Was he successful? Yeah.
Fletcher was his name, right?
Yeah.
Fletcher. I'm going to call, like, Music Man the opposite one. Is that fair?
Yeah.
You said you can be J.K. Simmons when you have the trifecta cooking. Are you Music Man when your trifecta is not cooking?
No. No. That's when your trifecta is falling apart and your classes are going down. I don't want to go into Music Man, Clown Man, kind of like dumb it down and just like make a joke out of it, right? There's got to be something to salvage.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen Music Man, so maybe this isn't the right thing. But I'm just like, J.K. Simmons was like super critical of a really good group. The opposite would be like a pretty poor group, but you're really supportive of it. That's what I'm going for. When the trifecta's not there because you have a pretty poor group, you have to like up the ante of support. And
I think that's where the sincere accomplishment, the accomplishment of real items that can lead to a sincere compliment. Accomplishing something, proving something, being proficient at something within that class or a rehearsal that you have them. And even the greenest of groups, even the worst groups, that is so important to, find something. Just think about all the clinicians you've watched over the years and guest conductors, and think that the bands have been really good, and sometimes the bands are not very good. And you just watch a master teacher, somebody in front of that crew, that takes something that is not very special and turns it into a moment and gives the kids something to hang on to. That's masterful teaching, of getting the kids to come away from a all-state band rehearsal or a district band saying, that was awesome. That was so fun. Yeah. That was so long and boring, but that was amazing.
Yeah, it takes some dynamic leaders to make all those things happen. That's true. Very true.
So your assignment this week is to go watch Whiplash and then get back to us on how do you think you fall from the Music Man, the Sunshine Pumper, to Fletcher from Whiplash. Share with us your ideas. Where do you fall? Depending on the time of year, do you switch?
Depending on your caffeine levels.
Depending on the time of day.
Depending on how many 2-hour delays you've had in a row.
Right. So share with us your thoughts. Are you the Music Man or are you Fletcher? Okay? Jackie, you have any closing thoughts before we cut this episode?
We've had 2 more ratings on Apple Podcasts.
Well, super
We're
duper.
almost to 50 ratings on Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. So if you could help us get there to 50, that would be super, super stellar. And if you want to leave us a review, write out some words for how you feel about us, that would be awesome as well. We always appreciate the feedback. And we love to hear from you. We get some emails from you listeners. We get some DMs on the TikTok and on Instagram. Feel free to reach out with whatever you need. We're here for you. We got you.
We are here for you. Okay, so for Steve Peterson,
Jack Hinkle.
we're out of here.